TKO Boxing with Sherry Abbasi, and today I'm joined by Mr. Evins Tobler from the USA. Evins, as I was saying, thank you very much for jumping on today and giving me some of your time. Um, like I was saying off camera just before we started speaking, um, I would ideally like to start by speaking a bit about yourself and just letting the people know how you sort of got into boxing and your career as a strength and conditioning coach and the way you managed to get to where you are now and what it took to get there, essentially.
Well, I'm Evins Tobler. Currently, I'm strength and conditioning coach to two-time world champion at a super lightweight champ, Regis Prograis. We've been doing this for over 10 years now. Um, I'm a former track and field athlete, professional. I did a long jump as my best event. My best jump is 26 feet 9 inches, 8 meters 17. I had some long jumps over 8 meters 25. I was collegiate champion in Puerto Rico. My university won 3 national championships. I competed at the highest level in track and field. And if you notice, most of the sports around the world, even football games, you'll see them warming up and using track and field drills. So track and field is really a staple, like a base for a lot of professional sports, and even especially football, basketball, those sports. But as an athlete, and then just I used to make meals for some of the fighters back in the day when like Juan Diaz is like 3-time champion. Well, I was his bodyguard actually, and I would make my company would make his meals, and I saw some of the things that the fighters were doing, and I figured I could add on. And I would see. I saw Regis at the boxing gym, and he was a youngster at the time. And then one Saturday morning, I ran into him on the track, and said, "The rest is history. The rest is right now." So I've been. I'm not just some guy off the street. I lived as a professional athlete, and with the boxing. I'm not a boxing coach. My job is to make sure that he can maintain power or speed over a span of 36 minutes. If it's a 12-round fight, 36 minutes. And, with the stuff that I've learned as an athlete, physically, mentally, emotionally, I apply those things to the training styles that I use for him to maintain all those things you need to do to complete a fight. So it's really a science, but I lived that all my life. So it's all in my head, man. So I love what I do.
Thank you for giving me the background information. So you come from an athletic background yourself, like you said. So you've lived a sort of regimented training schedule for majority of your adult life, I'd assume, as well as then getting into working with other athletes and teaching them, how to manage their weight and stay strong and all these types of things. So that is probably that's of course a benefit to you. So fighters and other athletes will buy into you because you've already lived that to an extent as well. So that sort of helps. It's like when sometimes you get boxers who are being trained by a boxer, they can understand that this person's been through it, so that they've lived the game essentially, and that is what you've done. Can I ask what your thoughts are on today's coaching? And what I mean by that is, obviously, we've got boxers from every country around the world imaginable training in different conditions, and the more wealthy boxers will have better things set up naturally, and the guys who are having to work jobs and fight and train, it's not as obviously high level. But what are your thoughts on sports science and the development of strength and conditioning coming into boxing a lot more in the last maybe 10 to 15 years than maybe what
I
it was
think,
previously?
I think some fighters are gifted. Some fighters are gifted with power. They're gifted with the IQ. Those things you can't develop as well. What I do. When you look at I can only use the guys that I have. Regis, he's heavy-handed. He's been like that all his life, and my job is to make sure that he can maintain that throughout the whole entire fight. And the things that you do physically will, you know, keep him, at that level. Now, there's some scientific things that, I don't think you can get away from the basic stuff. If you're gonna run, go run. You can't uh, have a machine act like you're at altitude. You want to remember oxygen. You want to train altitude. Go to altitude. Go to Colombia. Go to Colorado. So I see a lot of the science stuff. I think a lot of that stuff is unnecessary. You can never get away from the basics. Like it's like lifting weights. You want to build muscle, you have to use the compound movements, 3 or 4 movements per body part. You want to get stronger legs. You got to fucking squat. There's no other way to do it. You want to get explosive and powerful, you have to do plyometrics. And it's the same with boxing. You want to maintain your power and your strength, you have to figure out a way to fatigue the muscle to where you can still keep that elasticity throughout the whole entire fight by punching the bag. When I did track and field, my legs never got tired. After the race was over, they got tired. So how you you got to punch. If you're a fighter, you got to punch. From a physical standpoint. Now, all the other components that go along with it, and moving your head and seeing certain things, I don't do that. That ain't my job. Regis got 2 of the best coaches in the world. He got Bobby Benton, 2-time world championship coach, and then now he and Julian Toole put together this master plan. That's their job. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But to make sure that he can do what they're asking him to do, that's what I do. And with a lot of the scientific stuff, I'm not into that. We work the basics, and the basics they work for the best. Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran. You never saw them running with a fucking oxygen mask on. Some bull crap. I honestly, some of the technology is okay, but most of it I don't really agree with. I like the old fashioned. Now 10, 15 miles, I ain't down with that because the fight's not going to be like that. The fight's going to be explosive. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to butt that long wind. There's so many different ways to do that. We got the water, we got the sand, we got running, we got plyometrics, we have the heavy bag, we have the sparring. All those things combined in the training program, just basic natural stuff.
Yeah, I think to add on to what you said there, it reminds me of Rocky 4. I'm sure you've seen it. Drago had all the technology and all these. Obviously, he had steroids as well, but we forget that. But all the technology and the things that he was doing, and then you had the contrast of Rocky, just straight blunt force trauma out in the in the hills somewhere in Russia in the snow, chopping trees, and just sticking to basics. And like you said, in a lot of ways, you don't have to complicate it. Again, I don't know because I'm not an athlete naturally. Yeah, so you know how these things work, but you're obviously speaking from experience that you don't have to overcomplicate these things. It is better to maybe keep it simple.
Right.
And those results were showing in the 70s, 80s, 90s. So there's no reason that won't work today.
Right. It's working. I mean, 2-time world champions. Something's working. Something's working somewhere.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
can't
and you've worked with Regis. Can you just remind me, sorry, how long have you worked with him now? Because you said it's been a little while.
It's been over 10 years.
Wow, over a decade. So that relationship is obviously very strong. There's a lot of trust there, I'd assume. A lot of on a personal level as well as professional. I'm sure you got a lot of time for each other. So it's good to know. And sorry, go ahead.
So it's all good. He's not having no fights with me.
Yeah. Not with the world champion Southpaw as well. You don't want to risk it. But I mean,
no. Not going to happen.
Regis has long been a guy who's held a great reputation in boxing. Some will argue that he maybe hasn't had the right amount of attention put on him, and I think you would agree with that in terms of he has been maybe left aside or forgotten about from time to time. But he's someone who's always managed to come back and keep his name relevant, and he's always held a lot of respect because you get a lot of fighters who can talk a lot, but maybe not back it up in the ring. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful to fighters because it takes a lot of balls and heart to get in the ring full stop. But they can't put it all on the line. But whenever I think of Regis, I always think back to his fight with Josh Taylor. That's one of the all-time great fights.
Right.
At 140 and just a great fight all around. That was fight of the year that year. It won the award. So Regis has already sort of put his name in history in a lot of ways. And to be a champion 2 times in the weight class and accomplish what he has, you can't take anything away from him. Yeah. Having known him as long as you have, what would you say? What would you say are his best qualities? Whether that's as a human being or as a boxer, what would you say are his best qualities? Without giving away anything that you can read into for Devin Haney? Just in general, what would you say is about Regis that makes him the champion he is?
Regis loves exactly what he's doing, and when you have that type of drive, like really, it's been a long time, and this kid has not missed a day of training, even at the level that he's at now, making millions of dollars. It's easy to get misplaced. He's tuned into what he's doing. He loves knocking people out. And even with be preparing for a fight, you don't find many athletes like that. And I say there's only a handful that fall in that category. We got the Michael Jordans, we got the Kobe Bryants, we got people like that that will do what's necessary to maintain or become champions. When he lost his belt, he had to come back. He had to come back from what they call boxing hell, and he said he was coming back, and he came back. Here he is right now, two-time world champion. So that determination, drive, consistency, and just the will to prove to himself that he could do what he's doing, and he's doing it right now. So he has a different drive than a lot of athletes. And when push come to shove, when you have athletes with that type of drive and determination, it's hard to beat them, and it's going to be difficult on December 9th.
In a lot of ways, based on what you're saying, he sounds like a throwback fighter, very old school, traditional, just hard work and
Yeah.
dedication, which is what you need to succeed in boxing. So, based on what you're saying, that's what he is. And on the topic of throwback and sort of old school, I apologize, I jumped the gun and we started talking about Regis. Like I said, I wanted to speak about you a bit. What is it about the sport of boxing that got you sort of into it, essentially? And what are your earliest boxing memories, if you don't mind me asking?
Man, I've always been a boxing fan, and when I would go to the gym and I just saw some of the stuff that they were doing for conditioning, I just felt that I could, with my knowledge and my experience as an athlete, I could add to the table, to the process. And thankfully, guy Regis manager at the time, Jay John, trusted me with him, and the things that I knew, I applied them to what I knew about boxing, the biomechanic part. Um, Recovering and getting power, speed, and strength added on to what he already had, it was perfect for me. I mean, I could walk right into it and apply what I already knew to what they were already doing. If we got a 12-round fight, I know it's 36 minutes. I know we got to be able to last. In my mind, 66 minutes. I double it. So if you're gonna punch, you got to punch more than for 36 minutes. So I got a whole bunch of crazy shit that I'll use, but it's working so far.
Hmm. And in terms of the sport of boxing itself, for you, what do you remember from when you were younger and like the earliest memories of boxing, maybe in Evins Tobler's life?
I remember Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, fights like that. Like all the best fought the best, man. Boxing was exciting. Even when I've seen some of Ali fights, I saw the fight when Ali fought. I didn't really like it when he fought Holmes. Then Mike Tyson during my time, during the '90s, Mike Tyson was like the straight killer. How he just would come in there and demolish people. That's the style that I like. Get in, finish, and go home.
Straight to the point, knockout. You don't get paid for overtime, right? So Mike
Yeah.
Tyson had that down. Brilliant.
Mhm.
I mean, like I said, you've mentioned some of the all-time great fighters there, Evans, and to be in that sort of era, maybe when you were younger, watching these guys, that you can't really describe that, can you? It's the golden
Oh
era
man,
that everyone always goes back to. We'll talk about it forever.
Trinidad, people like that. Miguel Cotto, like in this era, it's
Mm.
like guys like that who just they work their ass off to get to where they are, and now they reap the benefits of being past champions. You're a champion for the rest of your life, no matter what. No matter what nobody say, Regis Prograis will always be a two-time world champion. You can't ever take that away. Nobody, never for the rest of his life. And even in my case, like I was telling people, they're questioning me. I said, you don't have to question my presence because I'm still ranked among the 250 jumpers in history in my event. I competed when guys like Linford Christie competed, Colin Jackson, all those British guys. So I mean, he's a part of history, no matter what happens. You know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, like you said, he's a two-time champion. So even if you try and take one away from him, he's always gonna have the second one. So it doesn't really
yeah,
matter either way. So he's got that there. And like we said, Regis has fought some top fighters, and then around the corner now we've got only a few weeks left until he steps in the ring with Devin Haney.
yeah,
Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight. Well, was the undisputed lightweight champion, and Shakur picked up the WBC title last night. But he still hasn't lost at lightweight. We can say that much.
right.
What do you think Devin saw in Regis that he decided this was the fight to take at this point? I appreciate his last performance with Regis has been criticized and whatnot, but why do you think Devin and his dad are thinking, you know what, we're going for Regis at this point?
Well, they have a history of doing that, and listen, every outing and fighting and boxing is not going to be what you expect. Sometimes you get an off night, and so what happens? We had a not really an off night, not such a great performance, but the champ came out with the victory. He put the guy on his ass. Haney saw something that he I guess he saw what he think he saw it, but Regis couldn't cut the ring off and do it. If you, how arrogant can you fucking be? If you think a fighter at this level can't do better than what he did in New Orleans, you got to be crazy as hell. And he's going to find out the things that he saw are not what he's going to get. Big difference. So they've been, it's like telling a lie. You tell a lie so much you start believing it. This ain't the same. This is not going to be the fight that they think. And realistically, man, they Haney has not faced a fighter like this in his whole career. He hasn't. They can say what they want. It's not that type of fight. It's not 135. It's a real 140-pound fight with a real fucking monster at 140. Nobody wants to fight him. So now Haney gonna have to eat his words because he's going to get hit. Regis may get hit too. But what is Haney gonna do when he get hit? What is he gonna do? He hadn't been hit like this in his whole career. And those are facts. I'm not talking shit. I'm saying facts. And the guys that hit him are smaller and they hurt him. What is he gonna do? I know what he's gonna do. He's looking at the ceiling, like I told him.
I mean, like you said, from a factual standpoint, this is the biggest man he's going to be facing up until
Yeah.
now, and the biggest puncher because Regis has got serious power in the left hand, and he can really punch. So from a factual standpoint, I don't think anyone could really have an argument that what you're saying is wrong. That is pretty much accepted fact.
Right.
What is it about what Devin and sort of Bill Haney said at the press conference? Of course, you were face to face with them. You've been in these situations before, so you can sort of read when someone's faking it or if they actually mean what they say. So, from your end, can you be certain that they believed what they were saying and they believe that this is going to be an easy night, or are they trying to play on emotions? How would you see it?
I think they bit off more than they could chew because even starting the press conference, the champion is the champion. The champion does nothing first. And for them to think that Regis is going to speak first it lets me know that they're bamboozled. Like I told them, you got to be kidding me if you think you're going to have a press conference and the challenger, the champion speaks for the challenger, no matter what it is. He needs to act like a challenger, and Regis is the champion. So we had to make him treat the champ like a champ. And he got upset. I just told the truth, bro. You speak first because you came up here as a challenger. How are you gonna invite the fucking champion? You can't invite the champion to the championship fight. The challenger has to be invited. So he was upset about that. I don't know what he was thinking. I just told the truth, and he never said anything about boxing. He was explaining why his kid was in homeschool, all that craziness. But it is what it is, man. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. It's more than what they're bargaining for.
Again, like I said to you off camera, I don't want to get any clickbait out of you, but I got a question here. Has it
Mhm.
become personal, or is it still business at this point?
It's business and it's personal because here you are. You honestly think you're gonna beat the champion, the most ruthless puncher in the division? You really think you're gonna come up here and beat this guy? You got your mind fucked up, bro. It's crazy to think that. You got to give the champion some respect. They don't have no respect. But not just them. Some of the whole boxing world, they have not given Regis Prograis his respect. Not. They haven't. Some boxing media people, they're still, what I call riding Haney's dick. And he hadn't really proven himself at 140. And even at 135, he don't want to fight the best at 135. But you think you can come up to 140 and challenge it's for me, it's personal.
I was going to say, how much does it being personal then sort of, can it cloud your judgment? Can it make things go the wrong way, or is it help you to
No,
dial in more?
not at all. I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job as a conditioning coach. The boxing coaches are doing their job. They're putting together this arsenal that's going to be successful on December 9th. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. It just fuels you to work harder. It fuels you to work harder. And we're not even going to talk about the champ. He's working his ass off. He's working. You don't think you got to know that he feels disrespected too. So when you get a kid like this, a champion like this, and he's still working very intelligently, timely, everything is working to his benefit. And that's exactly what we're doing, preparing to win this fight on December 9th. No question, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and like you said about the whole disrespect side of things in boxing media, I obviously follow you on Twitter. We follow each other, so I do see you sort of tweeting on what you're saying and stuff. And like we said, Regis has, for whatever reason, sometimes he does get forgotten about, and he does get people put him to the side or don't give him the respect. What do you think the main reason for that has been over the years, where he has been the forgotten man in the division?
Because he doesn't really have to talk shit. He's not some fighter who's running around with millions of dollars of jewelry. He's not flashy. I mean, he got his flash, but he's if he was in a room, you wouldn't even know it because he's not braggadocious. He's not that guy. You see Haney, you see all these guys out there doing all these crazy things in the media. You're gonna see this kid with his family. You're gonna see him training. You're gonna see him enjoying his life. He lives a regular fucking life, and it's hard for people to praise that. It's hard for them to praise a man who spent time with his kids. Why is that? Why isn't he so popular? Why you gotta be popular because you're going to fucking jail for having a gun in the car? That's what you want? That's not gonna happen on this side. Because he has more respect for himself and his position as a champion. But the media, they want drama, and he don't have no drama. So it could be that. It could be that he's not that flamboyant. But the bottom line is you can't take it away because he's two-time champ and soon to defend the title. So I don't give a damn what they think.
No, that's fair, and I think that sort of contrast with someone like when you mentioned he's a family man, it reminds me of like Terence Crawford, someone who's very much about his family, stick to his craft, disciplined, and he's always working. You never see him out of shape. You'll never see him ballooning massively in weight. Even if he gets bigger, he's still in shape, isn't he? He's always cut up and he has that
Right.
shape there. So Regis Prograis sounds like, from what you're saying, he's a similar sort of family guy, private, and has that time with his family. So maybe that's why he doesn't have that sort of promotion behind him, kind of thing. But at least now with Matchroom and someone like Eddie Hearn, who you would have obviously spent a bit of time with, Eddie Hearn's a great promoter, and he can talk and he can really push someone's profile. So hopefully this does help Regis towards this point of his career. Evans, for boxing fans, there are a lot of fighters out there that we look at and we can say, how does he do that? Where does the power come from? Where does that come from? Now, there's a guy who the other day was at a press conference, Mr. Deontay Wilder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very important question for me because you're the first strength and conditioning coach I've ever spoken to. So to sort of pick your brain a bit, if you don't mind. People always look at Deontay Wilder and they say, how the hell does this man punch that hard? Yeah. He can touch you with the right hand, stepping back. He can catch you without even really throwing it and knock you out.
Mm-hmm.
And they always go to his legs. Now, they say, oh, his legs are too skinny. He's built like a basketball player. He's this, he's that. what would you say from your knowledge of the game and of strength and conditioning? Where does Deontay Wilder's power come from? How does he generate it? Because sometimes he's not even standing properly. He might not even be throwing it properly, but the guy can just whack. How does that work?
Well, Deontay Wilder said it himself. It's a gift. He blessed with that with heavy right
God
hand.
gifted.
Like Regis is blessed with heavy hands, and if you get a guy like that, the goal would be able to have a program set up so that they don't lose that power, because exertion tends to make you tired. When you get tired, the power diminishes. But guys like that, they just have it. It's just natural. If Deontay Wilder didn't fight, he'd have a strong right hand. If Regis didn't fight, he'd have heavy hands. So it's a gift, man, that he has. He's blessed with that, and not everybody has that. So it's a gift. It's a gift from God.
Literally, that's all I've said. Sorry.
No, I'm here. I'm actually headed to the gym now. I'm gonna have to walk and talk.
Okay, no problem. That's fine. We will wrap it in a few seconds. Evans, since you're on the move to the gym now, actually, I'll just wrap it up with 2 quick fire questions for you. As a boxing fan yourself, can you give me your 3 top fighters at the moment?
Can I name the ones I'm dealing?
You can, but ideally, let's make it a bit interesting. Let's leave the bias out.
You mean of all time or current? You said current?
Current boxers, top 3 for you personally.
Deontay Wilder. I like Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
And I like Amanda Serrano.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's a wild card. I thought you'd say 3 men, but Amanda Serrano is a brilliant fighter as well. Excellent. And oh, sorry, the signal's gone a bit.
I like her too.
Yeah, she's brilliant. And the last question for you, Evans, before we go, for what you have accomplished in boxing with Regis and other people that work with you, once it's all said and done, once you retire from working as a strength and conditioning coach, what would you like your legacy to be, and what would you like to be remembered for most?
Loyal, hard-nosed, fair, and knowledgeable.
These are all top qualities to have as a human being, as well as a strength and conditioning coach. Evans, I just want to say a massive thank you for jumping on today and giving me a bit of your time. I really appreciate it. Can you also just let me know what your Instagram and Twitter handles are, so people who are watching this can follow you, please?
It's Fitness by Tobler on Instagram, and I think it's Evins Tobler 1 on Twitter. Man, I'm just getting on this stuff. I'm not no social media person.
No.
I'm just having fun with Twitter, man. The first time in I don't know how many years, and it's been fun. I'll talk shit to anybody, but I don't talk shit. I speak facts.
No problem. That's fine. I will tag your Twitter account when I put the interview out in the morning. So obviously we can retweet that and get people to follow you.
I'm coming to the UK. I'm coming.
I told you, when you come to the UK, you phone me.
I got you.
I'll take you to Nando's myself. That's a treat for me to use. Yeah, don't worry about that, brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, Evans. And like I said, I'll upload this shortly, and we can start tweeting out and stuff, and hopefully people can watch this. Yeah, and then we'll speak soon. Then, yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, brother. Take care of yourself. Yeah, take care.
All right.